we're back. July 14th, Monday.
Monday. That's the important thing. Dates, not so much.
Not a big date guy, huh?
Actually, it's a
very important date.
Why?
Why do you think it's important?
God, it's like talking to my girlfriend. I don't know. I don't know. What did I miss?
No, you were about to say something. You were like, oh, but this date.
Oh, no, not this date, but this might be a long week, you know. Oh, I haven't told you. I'm taking some time off next week, if that's okay.
What for what? Why?
I'm going to Amsterdam. So, this week, we're strapped in. We're going to work really hard. But we're here. Monday, did you have a good weekend? I'm not doing as much legendary stuff as I know you want me to.
Yeah, you're going to, like, baby showers.
Yeah, I went to
stuff?
a gender reveal party. It's a boy.
Wow. Pretty sweet. It's a boy. How did someone like, I feel like the only gender reveals, or the gender reveals that immediately come to my head are like someone pitches like a baseball and then they explode like
they miss it.
A pink thing all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wanted to do that with a golf ball. Okay. Not allowed.
So there's a correlation between gender reveals and like exploding items.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there was the little confetti things or.
Yeah. Okay.
Blue confetti, blue cake, but it was kind of green, and so everyone was like,
"He's the Hulk kid."
So that was pretty funny.
Sweet.
But the mother was not too thrilled that it was. I mean, of course, thrilled,
so
but
neither
would have preferred.
So who
a
knows about the stuff when they do a gender reveal?
So when you go to the ultrasound, the doctor knows you can't really tell, and so they can write it. They can write it in an envelope.
Okay.
And you just
then
give
they give the envelope to the parent.
Yeah, and they passed it off to like one of their siblings.
And the mom was mad it was a boy.
No, not mad, but you could tell would have really wanted a girl.
Listen, I don't want to be like the anti-woke guy that like everybody's gonna be mad at, but like if a dude got a pink gender reveal or whatever, he was pissed about it. That is not going on. I feel like that is one of those traps that I have not fallen into yet, but I also do not have a pregnant partner yet. Hopefully soon.
Wow.
Got to figure out how it all works first. But
different show.
But I do get the question as it becomes more in play. Mm-hmm. I get the question of like, oh, which would you want?
Just
which
a trap.
Is absolutely a trap.
Yeah.
And so of course it's like, oh yeah, like don't care, like whatever. But given the way things have been going for the last several hundred thousands of years, and the way that things are going the last couple of years, it seems like it would just be easier for a little dude running around than a little lady.
Probably.
Okay. But would be sweet either way. Well, congrats to your girlfriend's brother.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
Oh man, I spent a lot of time outside. It was pretty
nice.
sweet. I went to
Hot and steamy.
A sound bath. I hit berries twice
way.
This weekend.
Wow. I didn't know that was even
went
possible.
crazy. Second time was even better.
Really?
Free hydration smoothies afterwards at the berries.
I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
It was pretty
Saturday night.
a pretty sick way to start your day. Yeah, no, this was Sunday morning after the Saturday night where I literally got into bed before 8 p.m. And Callie was like, "It's Saturday night, and you're not even you're not even out of bed before the sun's down." And I was like, got the berries hydration smoothie in the morning.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
This is serious.
The only thing is living in Wicker, living in like a relatively younger part of town, whatever you want to call it. The workout times only start at 6 or 7. We need to be
to be
breaking in. Oh yeah. I'll do a 4:30 start or
no,
a 5.
you would not. 4:30 you would not.
I can't do this job and work out in the morning because it's only a 6 o'clock start.
That's crazy.
And on
but
the
I
weekends,
understand.
7:10 is the start, and it's like,
Okay.
dude, like now I go home and I shower, and like it's already like lunchtime, dog.
Yeah.
Like this is ridiculous.
Around here, they definitely have 5:25. So that's the earliest I've
More
seen.
adults around the West Loop.
Exactly, but I've never seen somebody contend, man, if they would just pop a 4 slot in there, that would fill up quick.
Okay, maybe not 4 even, but especially in the summertime, if you did a
Summer's
4:30,
different.
5 o'clock.
You'd get a couple people.
All of this being said, there were 7 people for the 7:10 berries.
There you go.
And there's like 30 spots.
Still a business.
Maybe
you could like
half
work
of
out.
them were walking probably because they were hungover.
I imagine all of
It's just,
and
dude,
paid for the class. God,
we're doing
that's awesome.
All right, our first sprint of the day. 4 of the women are just, nope.
I hear
Walking.
you. Not today.
Dude, to this dude's credit, he was still like he put, I think to silence the workout haters in the room, he just turned his EDM music that he was doing way up. And he like, I would like look in the mirror and he's behind me and he's just like he's just dancing, having
Just
a good
there for
time.
him. Nice.
Still just rolling off that Molly from the night before.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe you need to just talk to the trainers because I imagine they could work out before. You know, they run into the same thing you are, where I got to be at work at 6 and 7. When am I gonna get a workout in?
No,
maybe
but
they go before.
I think the managers and the trainers are the problem. I think it's like a classic, like, oh, if you're in a college town, stuff moves slow because like it's all college kids. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I think it's because like the managers and the trainers are all like mid to late 20s.
They
and
don't
they're
want to
like,
get up.
dude, I barely got here for the 7:10, and yes, I am still drunk. It's like, whereas I'm 32 now. I'm a man. I'm 30.
All right.
And I'm trying to do the workout. I'm trying to get this going because what do I gotta do afterwards? I gotta go to the free sound bath in the park, which was very
Free
It
sound
was actually
bath in the
nice.
park.
It was nice.
And you just all lay on the mat.
Here's something for you. Callie's like, oh, we're gonna do a sound bath at like some Wicker Park. I'm like, okay, sounds great. As we're approaching it, she's like, oh yeah, and it's nice because it's free. Immediately I'm mad. I'm like, this is a free thing? And she's like, why? What does it matter? And I was like, well, it's just going to be worse. And there's going to be like, there's going to be like a lot of frumpy people who like aren't into like, you know, sound bathing and yoga.
I mean,
and,
that's
and this
one thing
different
to
stuff.
say, but I think also just like the sound bathing as a concept, you can't have a lot of people just like treating it like a picnic. Otherwise, there's no
Dude, I don't know.
sound.
I think we have fully moved into a world where sound baths and my like, and maybe it's happening at the same time. I'm buying into this stuff and it is becoming popularized. Where, like,
Coincidence.
dude, like if you go to like a nice, like if you went to the Four Seasons right now,
Yeah.
even in Chicago, like it doesn't even have to be in like Vietnam or something like that. It's like the Four Seasons in Chicago, they'll be like, yeah, we'll do a sound bath for $300. You know, like
Yeah, we can throw that in the mix
Like,
of
people-
wellness.
the people in like 5 years from now, Pete will be like, oh, like we went to this great resort and like, have you heard of this sound bath thing? And it's
Got
like,
him.
we've been doing it for years, and I went to a free one. It was actually okay, but yeah, there were definitely. It was public.
Sure.
I guess I
but
would
the
say.
the actual experience, it being outside and free.
Well,
was,
she did organize it very close to the blue line, and so every 5 to
jeez.
10 minutes,
That's
it's
insane.
like boom, boom, and then it's just a train just going nuts right next to you. And then there was some kid, his dog Woodson, kept running away. So there was just a kid every couple minutes yelling, "What are you doing, Woody?" So it was, but that's what you get with the free sound bath.
Sure. Yeah. Glad you liked it because that doesn't.
It was a pretty funny time. Oh my gosh. But yeah, now we're back at it. What's going on? Did you cook up any research for today?
We'll have a really hard hitting research piece tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Not
Today, let's hop into the platform. Looking like a pretty soft Sunday night open. Not a lot of action from the European or Asian market opens, but that's okay. We've acknowledged we're in a lower volatility environment here. for currency trading, U.S. dollar specifically. And so we're just going to walk you through how we would look into setting up the week. Here, first looking at our all FX pairs. We look primarily at this popular U.S. dollar grouping, gives you all the exposure across the world in terms of the liquid assets here, the most liquid in currency pairs, and then our popular non-U.S. dollar pairs as well to get you some cross references for what these different currencies are doing, not only against the U.S. dollar but against each other. Nothing really standing out here today except a slight U.S. dollar. I don't even know.
It feels like U.S. dollar wants to continue rallying, or did want to last night.
Yeah.
And hasn't been able to really sustain that against anything except for these downtrodden commodity currencies. And I'm not even looking at Canada anymore, because actually the most interesting thing, and one thing on top of what Glenn said, is that we'll usually look at those top two sections, as you can see in the spread column there, spreads from under a pip to 2 or 3 pips for the most part, which is directly correlating to your cost of trading, given that there are no commissions on these markets. What I do see that's interesting is some trends developing between that Aussie, Kiwi, and CAD. Mm-hmm. So why don't you bring up that Kiwi CAD market? I want to take a look there first.
Our biggest percent change mover of the night.
Oh yeah, that was the point I was trying to make, is that we'll look at the net changes. And as you can see, a handful of not even 0.1% net changes, but a couple, 2, 3, 0.4%. And once we get around 0.5 percentage point of movement, that's where in FX the opportunity is. It's kind of equivalent to like SPOOs or NASDAQ being up or down more than a percentage point. It's like, okay, maybe there's something going on here today. And yeah, looking here, Canada in the news over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the first country that got nailed with the tariff talk all the way back in February, Canadian dollar got annihilated. Fast forward to now, Canadian dollar, quite the comeback. And it's actually starting to beat up pretty good on these other commodity currencies. Let's take a look at the daily chart. You can see here, I mean, first of all, you got all of that volatility around April.
Yeah, here you can really tell that the Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar proximity, we don't really see that all that often, but here you can tell a lot of that same risk-off geopolitical back and forth playing in very similar graph.
And that was a huge blip for commodity currency for a number of pairs. But if you kind of take that out of the mix, you have a couple of things going on. One, you'll notice that not a huge range, and you might think, when you take the U.S. dollar out of a Forex pair, like stuff's going to be crazy. Like it could be, when you're measuring the euro against the South African rand, like it's going to be nuts. It's going to be super volatile. But when you look at those major U.S. dollar pairs and you think about, at least the way I think about it, tends to be, okay, euro, pound, and yen, kind of their own subsection of those dollar pairs. And then Aussie, Kiwi, and CAD, kind of their own section. And then Swiss franc, I guess, is maybe more in that first section. Whatever, I forgot about it. Now, within those two subsections, when you pair those things up against each other, they can actually be even less volatile than the U.S. dollar outright markets themselves. Because here, if you take that April volatility off of the board, the last 6 months, really, you have a range of just below 81 cents to just above 83 cents. So a 200-point range. We're right now getting close to the bottom part of that range here for New Zealand dollar, and I would guess Australian dollar against CAD is the same kind of setup. Just an interesting thing. I mean, especially if you thought the news and the impending actual tariffs, what actually is going to happen, at some point this year or next year or whenever, was going to point in the south direction for that Canadian dollar, outpacing the rest of these commodity currencies.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, and one I wanted to hit today because when you think about currency trading and these tariff headlines, what we're getting now is the same veracity and wordiness of headlines around tariffs. Those haven't stopped at all. But what we have seen is this FX volatility as a result come in a ton. Now, the majority of these markets not taking any of these headlines as seriously at all. And so what we have here is a much greater potential opportunity for range trading because we haven't seen any.
Sure.
I mean, we had a small tick one Friday afternoon in, I know, the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar pair a couple weeks ago off a speculated tariff. That was erased in an hour, and not the range is not as expanded as we had back in February. And so here, when you start looking through some of these cross-currency pairs, when you're looking for a potential opportunity in a low volatility environment, here you are getting just different ranges. And here, historically speaking, a pretty consistent range trade over the past, like you said, year to date, 6-7 months here, and now approaching the bottom end of the range, where if you were looking at this New Zealand dollar, US dollar, you might not have the same conviction if you were looking for range trading opportunities, trying to fade the highs or buy the lows.
And this is the point again of just when you pair up some of these currencies against each other that tend to move together against the U.S. dollar. Like if you've been looking the last couple of months, whenever Australian dollar is up or down 20, 30, 40 points or whatever, New Zealand dollar is usually moving in the same direction. We can crunch the numbers on the correlation. I would guess it's pretty highly positive. And so you have a pretty wide range here for the last 6 months or so in New Zealand dollar versus U.S. dollar. But yeah, when you pair up New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar, or New Zealand dollar and CAD, more compressed ranges, and now starting to see, even though you're not seeing Kiwi at the bottom of its range against USD for the last couple of months, it is against Canada, just because Canada's been yet weirdly kind of strong the last several weeks. Really, honestly, going back to that crazy move around February, Canada has weirdly held in pretty good. But yeah, so some decent range trading opportunities across those commodity currencies and those non-dollar commodity currency crosses. Any extremes? Anything to look at? And yeah, here's a pretty interesting one. This Aussie against the yen. I guess the extremes would probably be in the downside against the yen.
Yeah,
in pretty much anything
across the board, I think. But picked this one just because when we're in kind of a lower volatility environment, at least over the past couple weeks, what I haven't been surprised to wake up to is some moves here in Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, as well as this dollar yen has really run. Got Bollinger Bands on all these charts. Just doing some recon.
And take off the order ticket off there, just so we can get the whole chart. No, just click the yeah, there we go.
I had to find it.
Nice.
So this one running wild. Definitely not as surprised to see, an overnight move in Australian dollar here as well. And so to me, that speaks, it's at least worth checking what this cross would be if we have a slightly less conviction about the future of the U.S. dollar, because that is such a large component in a ton of these pairs, especially now, is so much U.S. dollar weakness baked into all these pairs. Taking that out, what do we see? We are seeing here, not as extreme, but at least a near 6-month high here, and 6-month lows for Japanese yen. I wouldn't be surprised if we found more.
Well, it's actually interesting if we. I mean, this is going to be crazy. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, right. 175 is the high in that market, and we're 172 and change for this year. This euro yen is. I mean, euro's just been super strong.
Yeah,
Yen has just been super weak. But it's interesting going back. You should do some more on those non-dollar crosses because you did some great studies last week and showed that Australian dollar is actually one of the more kind of mean reverting, one of the currencies that you can range trade a little bit more than others, and
especially in low volatility.
And so it creates one of these scenarios where if like you're measuring up all of the yen weakness, and you're like, okay, yen is super weak against the pound and the euro, yen is decently weak against the U.S. dollar, and then yen is decently weak against Aussie and Kiwi. Which one, if I'm a contrarian, should I sell so I can get long yen? If I'm a trend follower, it's a different thing. If you're a trend follower, obviously buying that euro yen or buying that dollar yen has treated you pretty good the last couple of weeks. Whereas this one, you might be like, oh man, there's more room for this to run to the upside. Or is the commodity currency setup the last several years, you looked at it relative to US dollar, but is it across, all of these major currencies, regardless if it's a dollar pair, the most mean reverting? Which isn't to say, what's going to happen in the future necessarily, obviously, no clue. But historical prices the last few years have shown that those commodity currencies have been the most mean reverting. I wonder if you look at something like this, where it's like, again, it's an extreme. I'm looking to contrarian play long the yen. Is shorting the Aussie a better potential play this week, for example, versus shorting that euro, which has just been on a tear against the yen for. I mean, yeah, this looks like that dollar yen chart a couple of years ago, where it was just like, okay, there goes 155, and there goes 160, and there goes 165. like there's no reprieve in this market whatsoever. Whereas that Aussie yen.
Slightly slower, at least.
and some more, we get up here to 95. We get knocked down all the way to 92. Oh, now we're up to close to 97. Is there more room for reversion here?
Yeah, great call out. I'll get my best guys on it.
Sweet.
My whole team.
Anything else? What's up this week?
Yeah, let's walk through what we're looking at here in FX world. In terms of the economic calendar today,
China.
Not a ton to expect, except if you have Chinese stocks in your IRA. Maybe some news here.
Well, and I mean, obviously, this is Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar will move off of that stuff.
Yeah. Coming up this week, headline of the week, I think now across asset classes, trickling into the equity space as well. Looking at this U.S. inflation reading, a ton of scrutiny on it as we continue to look at the Fed doing nothing. Mr. Too Late Powell still not doing anything.
Wait, is he too late or is he asleep?
I think he's too late.
He's too late. Okay.
Someone else is Sleepy Nancy Pelosi.
No, Sleepy Joe. Nancy's
Sleepy
asleep
Joe
too?
Yeah, no, Sleepy Joe.
Okay.
You're right. But we are expecting an uptick in core inflation.
Everybody's asleep.
Uptick in headline inflation. This will be the one to watch, and very interesting for us looking at U.S. dollar here is what an uptick would mean. We're pricing in, a pretty substantial, 0.2 on core, 0.3 on headline. We're pricing in an uptick. There's a case in theory that an uptick in inflation keeps rates higher. That bolsters the U.S. dollar. I would contend that there is an alternative storyline that could come out in terms of fear taking over, U.S. dollar not having a lot of trust worldwide. Can't see how that necessarily.
I'm in the former camp.
Okay.
Especially coming off of that hot non-farm. Was it last
Super
week
hot.
or the week before?
Yeah.
I think that inflation uptick you see the move in interest rates and you see the move in dollar. Unless, I don't know, unless inflation fear fully comes back on the table. But then again, I
Same
think
story.
probably maybe it doesn't short term translate to dollar bullishness, but I think long term, obviously, you had the dollar bullishness of all the inflation fear of 2021, 2022. So we'll see.
Yeah, big week ahead for U.S. dollar and non-U.S. dollar pairs, as we do not scrutinize over 80 currency pairs available for trading through tastyfx. That'll do it for us here on Forex Focus on this Monday morning. A lot of trading ahead, so stay tuned to Tasty Live for Tom, Tony, and Vanetta up next.
You can get up to $4,000 when you open and fund a new account with Tasty Trade. That's 4,000 buckaroos, 4,000 bills, or clams, 4,000 in dough or cheddar, not the cheesy kind. 4 large, 4K, 4 grand, which is no small thing. Open and fund a new Tasty Trade account and get on the platform for traders who just want to trade. And did we mention a bonus of up to 4,000 smackaroos? Tasty Trade. Make your move.
Got friends? Get $250. We'll give you a bonus for each qualified person you refer to Tasty Trade. So spread the word and earn rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
Feel like your wardrobe is missing something? Like style, purpose, and maybe a dancing dog? Can I pet that dog? The new Tasty Trade and Tasty Live web store is now live. New merch, bold designs. Did we mention all net proceeds go to one tail at a time? Invest in the real bull market, dogs. Go to tastytrade.threadless.com. Grab some gear and help some pups. You get merch, they get a home.
Diversify your portfolio with stocks, options, futures, crypto, and more. Focus on the markets that matter to you. See the odds before you trade using curve analysis